Hey guys, it's BJ Norris again for Wilson Combat, and we're going to finish out the series on getting started in the competitive pistol sports today by covering some of the safety rules and skills you need to have before you head out to your first match. So again, the most important thing on any match range or any setting is going to be safety. That is the thing that you're going to find the most, even though that, at first glance, some of the things we do while shooting competitively may seem a little bit dangerous in terms of running around with loaded guns. Honestly, the way the safety rules are set up, it's a very, very safe environment. And, in my, almost 20 years of competing, I know of very, very few injuries. And most of the injuries are really sports-related injuries in terms of, sprained ankles, things like that. So, common between the two sports, first number one rule is you can't handle your gun anywhere except under the direction of the range officer or in the safety area. Now the safety area, there is no ammunition allowed, so you can't handle any ammo, you can't have a box of ammo on the table. Basically it is only a place to safely handle your unloaded gun and unloaded magazines. If you need to do any maintenance on your gun, that's where you're going to do it as well. So other than in the safe table or when you've been given the direction to load your gun to complete the course of fire, it's going to stay right here in the holster. Next, where can I handle my ammo or load my magazines? Well, you can do that anywhere except the safe table. Most people will bring a cart or have a range bag or backpack. You just have your ammo in that, load your magazines out of your range bag. Chances are each stage or each range is going to have a set of tables for the competitors to use to load their magazines and clean mags and all that sort of just administrative type stuff that you have to do while you're competing. So, number one rule, don't handle your gun except in the safe area or under the direction of the range officer. That can't be said enough. The next thing is whenever you're moving with the gun, whether it be 2 steps, 3 steps, 1 step, if you are not shooting at a target during the course of fire, your finger needs to be outside of the trigger guard. The best place for it that I found is directly alongside the frame, pointed straight out. That's very clear to the range officers that your finger's outside of the trigger guard and you're not going to get disqualified or get a finger warning because maybe it's right here and it appears from the range officer's point of view that your finger is in the trigger guard. Again, that's a safety rule. It's very important that you follow it. So if you do stumble or trip, there is a clear distance between your finger and the trigger. And that goes through reloading too. When you're reloading on the clock, you need to have your finger straight out alongside the frame, very clearly visible. Basically, the only time you should have your finger on the trigger is when you're actually shooting a target. And I think I've heard of one of the 4 rules that talks about that too. So use common sense, guys, really, and you're going to be okay. Now, one of the things that may be a little bit foreign to some of the newcomers to the sport is what's called the 180-degree rule. Now, the 180-degree rule means that you don't need to point the muzzle past 90 degrees in any plane. So, not past 90 degrees up, not past 90 degrees down, left, that's left, or right. And the range officer or safety officer is going to cover those points with you during the stage walkthrough. If there's anything that's odd or if there's a target that's very close to that muzzle safe point, chances are the safety officer or range officer is going to point that out to the competitors during the stage briefing and tell them, hey, make sure you're very careful right in this location on the stage, so that way you don't run into any trouble. Overall, guys, if you use common sense, go slow, and ask questions, you're not going to have any problems out on the range. Now, as far as basic skills that you should practice in dry fire and maybe a few times at the range before you show up, are really just your draw and your reload. If you have those 2 skills down to where you can do them safely, then you're going to be a-okay when you get to the match. So just going to cover both skills very quickly for you guys with an empty gun. So all you're going to do, in empty gun, when you go to draw the gun, if you're shooting a double action gun, it's going to start in a decocked mode. Same with a revolver if you happen to shoot a wheel gun. A Glock, of course, since it doesn't have a manual safety, you're just going to start chamber loaded in most cases. That's going to be covered in the stage briefing, and you're going to have the gun holstered. Now, if you're shooting IDPA, you're probably going to have a concealment garment on, but for this video, I'm just going to show you with no concealment so you can see exactly what I'm doing. The most common start position that you're going to have is going to be just hands relaxed at your sides, and that looks something about like this. You know, there's no Wyatt Earp gunfighter stance allowed. It's just going to be standing, you know, naturally, probably looking at the targets that are downrange. So on the buzzer, the start signal, you're going to bring both your hands up, keeping your left hand close to your body and out of the way. You're going to establish a firing grip with your strong hand. You're going to bring the gun up. The first thing you want to do is go ahead and pivot the gun so that it's parallel with the ground and pointed downrange. And you can see at this time my finger is still clearly outside of the trigger guard. Now from there, I'm just going to push the gun to the target. I'm going to acquire the sights, I'm going to prep the trigger, and I'm going to break the shot. Very, very simple. Now for reloading, we're going to start. You have the gun up and on the target. You have your extra magazine on your belt. Simultaneously, while you release the magazine with your strong hand, you're going to grab the new magazine from your belt, look right into the magazine well, insert the new magazine, roll the gun back to the target, acquire sights, pull the trigger. Now you can see through every step of each action, my finger was very clearly outside of the trigger guard, and I was doing so in a safe manner. I wasn't pointing over here. When I drew the gun, I'm going to draw the gun straight and point it straight toward the target. You notice I'm not going to come down and swing all around. All I'm going to do, draw the gun, come up to the target, break the shot. Thanks for watching, guys. There's tons of info all over the internet about shooting. I recommend that you get you know, some good training if there's somebody locally. The best place to find that is at your local match. Chances are there's going to be somebody there that is very experienced in the sport, and they can help you with some training. If you're looking for some more online training, you can check out my website, which is myguntips.com. That has tons of tips and videos on everything related to competition shooting and some defensive stuff as well. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to subscribe to Wilson Combat's YouTube channel, and we'll see you out on the range soon.